After working in a shelter for over a year now, I have seen so many different things. I have experienced the grief people have gone through in the decision of returning an animal due to other situations. It no longer works out, or they can no longer care for them properly. I have also seen the people that seem to not care much and return an animal after a couple days because they decided that they can't afford medications or other things for that animal when they were told about how much it would cost a month. I have seen how stressful this environment is for the animals as well. Some bounce back much faster than others, usually the younger ones bounce back quickly, but some take much longer or they never recover from it. The animals that get adopted and then returned for any reason are often stressed out with being back at the shelter because it's loud, and they don't get as much attention as they should because there are so many animals that it isn't fair to give one animal more attention than the others. The staff oftentimes don't have ample time throughout the day to take an animal out and spend time with them because the part-time staff, myself included, are busy doing other cleaning tasks within the 4 to 5 hours that we are scheduled, and then full-time staff are busy doing other tasks like talking with fosters and potential adopters to figure out the best animal or animals for them, or setting up the several adoption applications we get, which many come in overnight. The volunteers that come in are on the schedule for 2 hours and often only get 15 minutes with cats or to take a dog out on a short walk or to play in the run outside for about the same amount of time. Now that the weather is getting colder and the sidewalks are getting covered in snow and ice, the dogs get less time outside, unless the volunteer and dog don't mind the cold and snow. Throughout the state and country, this is an increasing issue for both shelters and pounds. This is in part due to animals not being fixed, not being microchipped, and people not doing research about breeds of dogs they are looking at and taking animals for granted and thinking that they are as disposable as a child's toy. Animals are not toys that you can get for a couple months to a couple years, and when they become too much, just get rid of them. They are lifelong commitments for the whole animal's life that people need to start thinking more about rather than just one day deciding to get a dog or a cat and then later getting rid of it. Not only is this issue stressful for animals, but it is also very stressful on the staff and volunteers that care for those animals every day. This stress often leads to burnout and emotional fatigue, leading to other mental health issues and them having to leave the field because they want to take care of themselves, as seen in the veterinary field, be more appreciated and respected than dealing with several emotionally draining situations day in and day out, on top of being yelled at by clients and other people for not being more caring or taking in animals when those people want them to. The animals that don't get adopted or do and get returned more than once for any reason, or even go to several foster homes, can end up becoming depressed. Yes, animals can become depressed and slowly deteriorate by not wanting to eat as much as they normally do, or even just becoming lazy by not wanting to do much besides lay in their kennel or socialize much. For dogs, they can show this by facing a wall and staring at it for long periods of time and becoming possessive of their kennel by not letting people in. I have seen this happen to one dog since working at the shelter, and it is heartbreaking to see them go through this. One thing that all of these animals have had in common is their breed. Pit bulls or pit bull mixes are medical issues that can become expensive, such as being on prescription food. These bags of food can cost as much as $60 or more for one bag of food. These factors are often intimidating because pit bulls have such a bad rap for being aggressive. Dogs are only experienced people should have them. One animal that I would like to focus on is Percy. He was our longest resident dog. He came in May of this year and hasn't left since. We found out that he is deaf and has learned a little bit of sign language for basic commands such as sit. Several people have met him thinking they could handle him, but later backed out because he has too many issues. Now that we know his personality more, we've been able to tell the volunteers how to work with him to have the most enjoyable time with him. When he first came in, it was a little frustrating because he wasn't used to the environment yet, and he did have a lot of energy. At the time, it seemed like he just didn't listen to us. I still have the scratches on my arm from the first few days I interacted with him when he jumped up on me. His time in the shelter has greatly improved as we now know how to work with him and what he likes and doesn't like. Like when he is outside and it's time to go back in, he does a catch me game with you because he doesn't want to go back in. It has been a long road with him, with learning his personality and different ways to work with him since he is deaf. He does have some potential adopters, finally, and from what I heard, they're great people and it would be a good fit. It's great to hear that he has warmed up to these two people so quickly, as he does have a bit of stranger danger, more so towards men, but he has another meet with them in a couple days at their house. I'm really hoping this adoption goes through and these two people stick with it, and if they need help with anything like training, they reach out to our trainer or other professionals instead of giving up on him and returning him. While he has been in the shelter, he has become a lot of people's favorite, one of mine anyway, and I know for a fact we will all be super happy to see him leave if and when this works out. It's a joy coming in the morning and seeing all the other dogs that have made a mess in their kennels, but not Percy. He can also nap like a champ in the noisy dog room when all the others are barking because the door was open or someone is walking through. And there he is, just curled up on his bed, napping like nothing is happening. After Percy and all of us at the shelter, waiting for about 6 months for his forever home, I would love to report that this sweet, shy, energetic boy has finally been adopted. I really hope the people that adopted him stick with him through anything and reach out to either the trainer we have on staff or other professional trainers that we have experience working with deaf dogs.